Hello, and welcome to PDHPE, You and the Profession, a multimedia YouTube presentation by me, Harry Miller. Part 1. Me and my PDHPE experiences. What types of physical activity did you participate in?
Quite a number, actually. When I was young, I seemed to have this idea in my head that I wanted to join something and belong to some sort of group or team. So from the age of around 10 to 15, I dabbled in t-ball, karate and primary school football, as well as several others. Although I wasn't on these teams for very long, as I was easily bored at that age, and I soon lost interest and moved on.
Why did you choose these activities? Who influenced you the most?
Probably my parents, really. In primary school my parents really pushed me to try and commit myself to a sport. I'd have to say that my primary school teachers also influenced my decisions, as the school offered a range of clubs and teams that we could participate in. There was also a sport day every year, where we'd compete in a range of activities, and win ribbons if we came in the top 3 places. I only won one ribbon in primary school, and that was a 3rd place ribbon. But I was happy with that, because every year that I didn't win a ribbon, it just prompted me to try harder the next year.
What are your current feelings associated with physical activity?
I still enjoy physical activity to some extent, such as walking instead of driving, or playing games with my friends. It's really the solo activities that I struggle with, because I find it hard to stay motivated when I'm on my own. Every so often, I think about how great it would be to be in a local sports team or group or whatever, but I honestly can't find the time, due to work and university.
How might these feelings influence your teaching of PE in the K-6 context?
I think that, surprisingly, my history with physical education would have a positive influence if I were to teach PE for years K-6. Since I was unable to manage both PE and other academic subjects at the same time successfully, I believe this would prompt me to motivate students and try and persuade them to successfully manage both, so that they could achieve high grades in both subjects, instead of opting to drop one, as I did.
Part 2. The ideal PDHPE teacher. As you can see here, I have outlined how a PE teacher should dress. With short, manageable hair that doesn't interfere in day-to-day activities, comfortable, loose-fitting t-shirt that allows both flexibility and proper participation in class activities, a comfortable, properly tied-up shoes, ensuring no trips or falls whilst conducting the lesson, and comfortable pants of an appropriate length, depending on the weather. Tracksuit pants or yoga pants are acceptable, as they allow for the PE teacher to teach the class with ease and comfort. With all of these items, you are well on the way to becoming an ideal PE teacher. So here we have another picture of an ideal PE teacher. This one was taken when the teacher was instructing the class on how to do push-ups by selecting 2 children to demonstrate the correct procedure. It is incredibly important to recognize the teacher's posture, as it can often convey different and sometimes unwanted messages. Notice how the teacher here is standing up straight, with his weight evenly distributed on both feet. Gallagher believes that this tends to convey confidence and assuredness. Gallagher also believes that a teacher who places their hands on their hips, as this teacher is clearly doing, is a posture assumed by teachers who convey authority or being in control. It is quite clear to see then, just by looking at this teacher, that he is clearly in control and very confident in his profession, 2 qualities that are integral to being an ideal PE teacher. There are numerous traits associated with being a successful and ideal PE teacher. Like any other teacher, a PE teacher needs to be confident and determined to get the job done. Stanford University have taken the time to outline a number of qualities and traits that they believe make an effective teacher. While the list in its entirety can be found here, the important points are as follows. An ideal physical education teacher should give the lesson some context, discuss viewpoints other than his or her own, seem to enjoy teaching, and be seen by the students as an approachable and a valuable source of advice, even on matters not directly related to the course. Stanford University believes that this will help in the creation of an ideal physical education teacher. However, probably the most important quality in an ideal PDHPE teacher is the ability to leave feedback. According to Rink, learning was assumed to be enhanced if the learner was given information on performance. Rink also states that many physical educators have identified the idea of feedback as critical in the learning process, as it allows the students to build and improve on what they already know. This is similar to Lev Vygotsky's idea of scaffolding, in which the more knowledgeable other, the teacher, gives feedback and instructs the student on how to next proceed. This has been proven to lower frustration and keep the child interested and motivated, two very important qualities when conducting a PDHPE lesson. By using the idea of scaffolding and feedback, the teacher ensures that by the time the student is able to do the physical activity without any help, they will be confident enough and motivated enough to complete the exercise at home, allowing for regular exercise outside of the classroom. Part 3. The Verdict. By drawing upon the characteristics of effective teachers described in the Stanford University Handbook and outlined in the How a PE Teacher Should Act section of my assignment, I believe that I would make an effective PDHPE teacher, but not an ideal one. I believe that I would easily be able to give the lesson context, be seen as a trustworthy and approachable confidant, and be able to discuss viewpoints other than my own. Most importantly, I absolutely love teaching, and I believe my students would clearly be able to recognize this if I taught the class. The area where I let myself down, in terms of becoming an ideal PDHPE teacher, is, of course, my current level of physical activity. I strongly believe that in order for a PE teacher to have any kind of influence over their students, and in order for them to persuade children that the easiest way to remain healthy is to do regular exercise, the teacher needs to be healthy themselves. Whilst I do consider myself to be healthy, I could definitely do more exercise and eat healthier, and I would consider myself to be hypocritical if I was telling the students to do more exercise when I don't do much myself. However, I also believe that due to my inability to simultaneously manage both PE and other academic subjects whilst in high school, I would make a successful PDHPE teacher, as I believe that my history would allow me to motivate my students so that they could succeed where I failed in terms of PDHPE. In terms of teaching PDHPE in the K-6 context, I believe I would be very successful, as I feel I would have the confidence and skill set needed to be able to adequately teach primary school children. I believe that the role of PDHPE is very important in student learning, as it promotes a healthy and well-balanced lifestyle, as well as teaching students the benefits of regular physical activity. In light of this, I would feel very blessed to be able to teach a physical education class, particularly in the K-6 context, as it would allow me to persuade my children to lead a healthy lifestyle before it is too late. It is of the utmost importance that an ideal PDHPE teacher also shares the belief that teaching children to be healthier and more active is one of the most, if not the most, important things in the world. It is this similarity in beliefs and ideals that I think would also contribute to my success as a physical education teacher. So, in summary, I believe that despite my lack of regular exercise and intense physical activity, I still believe I would make an excellent PDHPE teacher, as I would be able to give appropriate feedback, motivating the students should be more active. I also believe that due to my past inability to manage both PE and other subjects, I would be further motivated to prompt students to continue doing physical education, and not make the same mistakes as I did. This would hopefully allow them to continue with a long, healthy life of regular physical activity, something which is scarce in today's society.
Bye.